Hello, welcome to another episode of Re Tsene. My name is Re M, the psychologist, and today I'll be talking about another mental health related topic. Today I'll be talking about suicide prevention. We know that statistically, suicide is one of the highest causes of death, especially amongst teenagers. So stats also tells us that more than women are most likely to commit or attempt suicide more than men or more than boys. However, men are more likely to commit successful suicidal attempts. And this could be due to various reasons. So research shows that most men use very harmful ways to attempt to commit suicide. So suicide is one of the biggest challenges that we are facing as a country, and it is so important for us to have this discussion to just equip ourselves with knowledge of how we support those who are struggling with suicidal ideations, who are struggling with suicide, and who have tried attempting suicide before. So there are various causes of suicide, especially among teenagers. And they could vary from stressful life events such as academics, death in the family, sometimes psychological problems such as a diagnosis and depression, which is one of the most prevalent causes of suicide. So people who are struggling with depression find that sometimes they struggle with feelings of helplessness, they feel worthless, and they get into that deep state where they struggle with those negative thoughts, and sometimes they feel like there's no hope for their lives or there's no way out. And one thing about people who are struggling with suicide, they always feel like suicide or attempting suicide is the only option that they have, and they can't do anything else about their situation or the challenges that they are facing. So how do we, as a community, as therapists, as the society, support people who are struggling with suicide? Firstly, it is to raise awareness against suicide and those who are struggling with suicidal challenges. And this starts by us normalizing having those conversations. We all know that we go through experiences that sometimes makes us feel like, there's no way out, there's nothing that we can do. And we all sometimes struggle with, dark thoughts like that where we feel like, we should kill ourselves or there's nothing to live for. When we start normalizing these conversations, there's conversations about our challenges as well. The person who's struggling with suicidal attempts can start to see that they're not alone, because that's the thing about, being in this space. Sometimes they feel so isolated, like this is happening to them only. But when you open up those spaces where we normalize those conversations, they can be able to see themselves through the eyes of other people and realize that they're not alone. Other people as well are battling with different challenges that make them feel in a similar way. Also, as mobilizing psychosocial support, if you know a friend or someone who's struggling with suicide, referring them to the right channels, referring them to the right people who can assist. Because as we said, if a person is struggling with depression, in those cases, they might need a psychiatrist with the help also of a psychologist to just help them work through the depressive thoughts, which are causing the suicidal thoughts. So psychosocial support in those instances then become very important. Crisis intervention at various levels. The better crisis response systems that we have in place, the better we are able to help people who have attempted suicide or who are struggling with suicidal thoughts. For example, there's a university that has a 24-hour crisis line. And I found that line to be really helpful to help to help students who were struggling with suicidal thoughts. And in some cases, students would call while they were in active suicidal cases. But the better or the faster the response was, a life was saved, if I can put it like that. They were able to get the assistance that they needed. And in cases of active suicide, they were able to be taken to the nearest hospital promptly. So having systems, crisis intervention systems, not only in schools, but also in our communities, where if individuals have gotten to that state, they can receive the assistance that they need, can be very, very helpful to help combat the rise in suicidal cases. What else can we do as well? equipping families, with parenting skills. We know that the family structure plays such a crucial role in our society. When we have families that are supporting each other regularly, when we have families, or parents that are supporting their children through the use of adequate parenting skills, their children are able to have a safe containing space in their homes, where if they feel like there's something that makes them feel helpless, where they feel helpless, they're able to bring it to the table at home. They're able to share it with their parents, who can share with them, how to overcome that challenge. And I feel like this also builds a sense of resiliency. And resiliency is the next thing that we can do. And this could be done through educational or learning programs on how to build resiliency in, our young children, how to build resiliency in our young teens, how to build resilience even in adults who are struggling with suicide or suicidal thoughts. The more we are able to mobilize assistance for people who are struggling with suicide, the more we are able to bring those numbers down, because each number represents an individual. So what is our role as a community? What is our role as an individual when someone is struggling with suicidal thoughts? Firstly is to listen, create a holding space for those people. Empathy is such a healing space for a lot of people, just being heard and being validated in that moment, not feeling like you're alone and feeling like someone is physically holding your hand through talk therapy, through a conversation, be it with friends or a therapist. That is something that could really be helpful, creating those response systems that help those who are in active suicides, to save their lives. And also, once a person has, attempted suicide and they're able to get the prompt help, ensuring that they continue to get assistance even after the incident, ensuring that they're not left alone just because it was not successful, ensuring that someone is holding their hand or someone is there with them to support them, to ensure that it does not happen. Because we've also found that once a person has attempted a suicide once, there's a higher chance that they can attempt again. So those are just one of the ways that we can help people who are struggling with suicide. As psychologists, as social workers, as counselors, what we do is equip an individual with coping skills to manage stressful life events. If a person has been diagnosed with depression, it looks like supporting them or encouraging them to continue with their treatment of depression, to continue with their treatment so that they can help with the depressive symptoms, so that we can combat the suicidal thoughts and the suicidal ideations. It's important for us to stand together as a nation, to stand together as a community, to stand together as families to help those who are struggling with suicide. Thank you for listening to this video. I really hope this nugget is something that you found helpful. My name is Re Tsene, and I hope you have a lovely, lovely week. Thank you.